Major support for Do the Math has been provided by Chevron, the Kern County Superintendent of Schools, Edison International, Valley Strong Credit Union, California Resources Corporation, Bakersfield West Rotary Stroop Family Foundation, Panama Buena Vista Union School District, Bakersfield City School District, Kern High School District, and AC Electric Company, with additional production assistance provided by these supporters of education in Kern County and throughout the state of California.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to Do the Math. I'm Michael.
And I'm Cindy.
And in studio with us we have William. And William, if somebody needed to get a hold of us, what would they need to do?
For math homework help, call in Bakersfield 636-4357, toll free 1-866-636-6284, email dothemath@kern.org, and we're online at dothemath.net. And on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
All right, nicely done. So, William, where do you go to school and what grade are you in?
I am in 5th grade and I go to Berkshire Elementary.
All right. Have you been at Berkshire for a long time?
Yeah, I've been there since kindergarten.
Since kindergarten. So you're pretty used to the place.
Yeah.
All right. Did you know that students may soon be able to go back to school possibly?
Yeah, I heard an announcement about going back to school.
Okay. What do you think about that?
I think it's good because I get to meet my friends again and my teacher and have a fun time at school.
There you go. Yeah, you can actually see your teacher in person, right?
Yeah.
See your friends again and hang out for a little bit at recess and stuff like that. And is there anything that you like or you find easy or fun or it's new and challenging and you like it about the way school is right now going over the computer?
That's because we're on the computer. We get to do a lot of stuff on the computer, which is like playing like a reflex math and like a math game, and also some other things like quizzes, which is like a website where you can like play a quiz, which is like educational kind of.
Okay.
And a Pear Deck, which my teacher uses to make like each subject pretty fun on slides that we can draw on.
Oh, good. So you like that?
Yeah.
And it's something that you may not have done if you were in the regular classroom, probably, right?
No.
Because this is like, all right, well, we got to figure out how we can do this and what we can do to make things work and have the kids have fun and learn at the same time. And so that's one benefit of this. And then you're probably getting pretty good at problem solving on a computer to get things going. Probably learning a little bit of keyboarding a little bit better now, too, because you're probably having to type documents a little more and things like that. Good. All right. You ready to do some math today?
Yeah, I'm ready to do some math.
All right, good. That's what I like to hear. Well, we're going to have you do some math in just a couple of moments. But first, we're going to take a look at today's Math in the News. Well, for today's Math in the News, once again, we are fortunate enough to have a visitor in studio with us. We have Nick Hill. And Nick, how are you today?
I'm doing fine. How about yourself?
Wonderful myself. Where do you work? So I don't want to have it come out wrong, and I'm like, oh, well, that's not where he works. It's like Kern County or Bakersfield, the chamber, and so.
Well, I'm actually the president and CEO of the Kern County Black Chamber of Commerce here in Bakersfield.
Okay, so as the president and CEO.
Yes, sir.
So what is the difference between those two? Because somebody, I mean, like William or even somebody might be like, well, if you're the president, aren't you the head of it? And if you're the CEO, aren't you the head of it?
Same thing.
So it's just titles, or
Just
do they come
titles.
with different responsibilities?
No, just titles.
All right. Could you add a third one on there if you wanted to?
I guess.
Okay. I'm president, I'm CEO, and I am ambassador for
And sidekick.
All right. So what does a chamber do?
Well, the chamber advocates for entrepreneurs here in Bakersfield. We advocate especially for the African American entrepreneur,
Okay.
but we're not exclusively for the African American entrepreneur.
Okay.
We're totally diversified.
All right. And so you advocate for them.
Yes.
So so how would a business be able to use your service by being a member of the chamber? Like, how do they do it? What do they get from it? How does it help that business?
Well, actually, we help our businesses with advertising. We help them with all the news that's coming out, all the grants, all the loans, available loans and things like that. We prepare them, for loans and things like that. We just had a webinar yesterday, where we paid for their city license, their fictitious filing, and their advertising the business publication for 4 weeks, just for attending the class.
Oh, okay.
And then before that, we had the Small Business Academy, where we paid for 40 members to have business memberships at $200 each, and then we gave each one of them a $700 grant.
Can do the math be a business that we can get in this thing, right? Hey, that sounds like a pretty nice deal, right? Advertise for us, pay us to do it, and pay our licenses and things like that.
Yeah. And we also had to practice what we preach because of COVID, so we also gave out $500 stimulus to some of our members as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So a lot of generosity. So where does that money come from to be able to give it?
It comes from different sponsors, that come and they sponsor our chamber, in order for us to be able to do, instead of us, I would just say holding on to funds and things like that, we distribute it to our members because right now during the COVID-19, everyone's doing bad. So we have to, like I said, we have to practice what we preach. We advocate and we help our members out. So that's one way that we do it, now that the COVID has hit.
I was going to say, every business, no matter what it is, at this point needs help, right? Nobody's going, well, I don't need any help. Everything's running smoothly here. Are there businesses that have been with the chamber for a long time? Like once you become a member, after a while, you guys go, hey, you know what? You're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
You don't need our service anymore, or can they still be in it?
Yeah, we have a lot of corporate members, and with that, our corporate members keep us afloat, and our corporate members actually allow us to do a lot of services for our smaller members. Like with all the everything that's going on right now, we were able to offer all of our small members a free membership just across the board, so they wouldn't have to pay, But on the other hand, we also have a junior chamber of commerce.
Well, I was going to say, I thought you had a junior, so can you tell us a little bit about that as well?
Yeah, our junior chamber of commerce consists of children, and at first we limited to age 13, but then we had child entrepreneurs that were in grade school, like this young man right here. So we couldn't leave them out. So now we have a kids CEO program, and we have parent managers, that manage the children. And so what we're doing is we're going to be taking these children in August. We're going to take them to the Ron Brown Summit in Sacramento with the California Black Chamber. And it's all expenses paid, things like that, so they can showcase their talents in Sacramento.
You need chaperone? That might be.
We actually do.
All right. So how would, let's say William has an idea or something like that, and he's looking like, hey, this sounds pretty interesting. How could I get involved with you guys with what I've got on my mind?
Well, they can give us a call at 661-376-2853, or they can email us at info@kcbcc.co, or they can go directly to our webpage at kcbcc.co, and they can download an application to the junior chamber. You can download an application for the regular chamber. You can ask us questions on our webpage. It's interactive. You can actually see what's going on with our junior chamber as well.
All right. Now, how long, does your post, as president, CEO, and ambassador, and TV personality now, is that for a set time? You guys, in the chamber, are the, I'm trying to see, all right, how long have you been president, CEO? Is this something you're going to continue on with until you're done doing it?
This actually is my second tour of duty.
Okay.
Yeah, I was president from 2013 to 2015, and I left the chamber, and I was approached back in 2019, and asked to come back again. So I came back at the end of January 2019, and there is no set tenure.
Okay.
There's no set tenure.
So you were president at one point, and you left, did some other stuff, whatever, everything's going. They're like, hey, you know what? We need a little bit of extra help here, maybe because of your previous guidance.
Pretty much.
Come on back, and we'll throw CEO on there also. And
yeah, because like I said, right now we have a new location. When I came back, I got a new location, new staff, everything.
where is the location? Is it?
2623 F Street, Suite F, right in the same block as Rosemary's Creamery.
Oh, okay. I know where that is. I tell you right now. Oh boy, I tell you, I like that ice cream right there.
Yes, sir.
You guys go over have meetings over there?
Oh, yeah. We sure do.
Right, why not? All right. So, are there any activities that might be coming up that the public should know about with the chamber?
Yes. Well, actually, we have a small business workshop, and we've had Morgan Clayton from Teltech. He facilitated the webinar yesterday. Keith Bryce last week from Midwest Development Corporation facilitated the webinar last week. And then we have Jeremy Woods from CSUB on the 27th, which is Saturday. He's going to be facilitating this webinar as well. And all these webinars we're giving out, we're going to pay for the city license, the fictitious filing, and everything. All you have to do is just show up.
Okay. And once again, do you have a website? You want to give that one more time so that people
Yes.
get there and get some other information?
Our website is kcbcc.co without the M.
That's right. I remember you saying that without the M, so
Without
remember
the M.
CO.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, people automatically put the com on there or something, but sometimes it's gov, edu, and in this case, CO.
Right.
Nick, it certainly was a pleasure to meet you, and rather interesting, all of the things that go on with the chamber over
Okay.
there.
Yeah, and I just want to mention real quick, we have a few things coming up as far as our junior chamber.
Okay.
And we have Mr. Gustavo Martinez. He's going to be working with our computer camp, and he's going to take old computers and show children how to put these computers together, and they're going to put brand new components in it. We also will be working with Mr. Alfonso Rivera from Advanced Technologies, and he does STEAM and STEM. And this is something that is extremely important for the growth of children. But the other thing is we want to make sure that we're educating our children about business, just basic, because we want to actually put our children in the boardroom and let them get the real feel of how to operate, during the boardroom with Robert's Rules of Order and the whole nine.
Right, what it's actually like, not just playing around. This is actually happening. We are doing this for real,
Yes.
and you are now part of it.
Yes.
Now, I know I was kind of going to let you go there, but you've intrigued me now here. With Gustavo and the computers, so where are the computers coming from and the new components? And then what do you do with them once they're rebuilt?
These computers are like computers from like different companies and CSUB and things like that.
Okay.
When they get their new, they give out the old stuff. And then after that, the new components is where we're going to pay for those new components for the children. The children put these computers together, and they take those computers home.
Oh, even better deal right there.
That's it. They take those computers home.
Now, with Alfonso doing the STEM and the STEAM, is there information for links on when those events might be happening on the website, or is there someplace different they need to go to?
No, they can go directly to our website, and we can post it there. We have a Facebook page, we have Instagram, and a few other things, but basically most of our information will be pasted. We have a calendar. We just post it on the calendar, on Google Calendars, and it'll just populate directly on our web page.
Perfect. Well, I certainly do appreciate you taking some time. I know you're a busy guy coming down to visit us here on Do the Math, and all the best to you as you keep on going as president and CEO.
Oh, yes, my pleasure. And like I say, anytime, I'll be glad to come down.
Well, good. We'll be ready because this isn't your last time now. All right. 636-4357 is the phone number. We do have phone tutors available until 5:30, as we do most Tuesdays and Wednesdays throughout the regular school year. And speaking of wrapping things up, today is the day where we're going to be wrapping up our series From Seed to Harvest. If you remember a few weeks ago, we started taking a look at some seeds, looking at the soil, the water, everything that goes into it, and we're finally getting ready to harvest the cabbage, and let's see how this is going to go about.
the real world. Here we are, middle of a cabbage field in our series, Seed to Harvest. And we are finally at harvest. My friend Nick, operations manager out here, came to visit with us today. And Nick, I mean, they're picking the cabbages. They're ready to go, man. Tell us what we're looking at and what the process is going on here, because man, this looks like this is an exciting time. We can see the product.
Time. Yeah. So about 2 weeks ago we started harvest. I mean, it starts with seed, what you did first. Right. Now we're at time to harvest. So 2 weeks ago we started harvest down there. They're shredding it now. Yeah. But now we're here. This is our second planting of cabbage. So in the second planting of cabbage, before we even go through there, it starts with scheduling. Walk the field first. Kind of take a quick mathematical equation of how many heads are ready, start counting the heads.
And how do you know if they're ready? I mean, literally,
so
you take a look at them.
Retail size head cabbage.
Okay.
Right there. Kind of what you see at the store level.
Sure, that's beautiful.
So we start counting in the square foot, just how many are ready, and we go from there.
Okay.
So if we see more than 80% that are ready, we start scheduling the crew. Yeah. Bring the crew out here. And all these projection numbers go back to the sales team, which you'll talk to in a little bit.
Sure.
So usually we try to hit about 80% harvest rate. That way we don't come through here too many times. If we come through here too many times, their cost goes up, and then the sales team needs to sell it for more money. And we don't want to keep it at a good, even playing field for them.
So you don't get every single cabbage on the first time through?
No, you'll see some of the little guys here. Look at this one right here.
Sure. And you're going to give that guy some more time to grow.
We'll give that guy some more time, maybe hit it with a little bit more fertilizer, some more water, let it get some sunlight, and just size up, harden up. That way we can come back later and then get that last 10% at once.
Right, and to optimize your operation, how many times would you rather come through a field? Just twice?
Twice. Okay, twice. Gotcha. Once at 80% and get the last 10%.
And then get the rest of it later on. Gotcha. And when they're looking, when the guys are coming through, are they just kind of eyeballing it and saying, hey, this one's too small, we'll leave it, this one's big enough, we'll go for it?
Exactly. Our harvest team is very well trained. We do a full training before, showing them what size we want for retail. Yeah. It's about a 20-pack count for a 45-pound box.
Okay.
So we come in, show them the sizing, and just start cutting them and let them know don't touch the smaller guys. They'll come around later.
Now we talked to Jeff a couple segments back about bird damage and pest damage and disease. They know to look for that as well, right? And what do they do? They just chuck those out, or how does that work?
So what's great about cabbage is you can peel back the layers. So if they do damage one of the top leaves, you can always peel it back.
Those birds don't always get all the stuff they want.
No. So we'll peel back layers. That way it's nice. It's presented as a nice retail pack in the box.
Right, gotcha. And this is a lot about presentation,
for sure.
Right? I mean, you certainly have a lot of nutrition out here, but we want to make sure it looks good because Americans like their food to look good.
Yeah, consumers want a nice cabbage. We'll even sometimes leave a little bit of head like this. That way at retail, they'll peel it back and present a nice cabbage to the consumer.
Sure, it looks great.
Yeah.
So today's an amazingly sunny day. Everything's going along smoothly, but what are some of the challenges that your crew might run into and maybe have to shut down or come back tomorrow or postpone for a while?
So there's two challenges we face. It's frost in the morning as we get into later months here, or December or January for us here in Bakersfield. Frost will delay us a couple hours in the morning. Let the sun come out and defrost, or else if you put frost in the cabbage in the boxes, you'll see it burn on the top of the head at retail.
Right.
This is not good for them. So that and the weather. We do look about at a 5-day lead time on weather, watching rain and wind and kind of seeing how we schedule our harvest.
Sure.
If we see rain in the forecast, we'll push a little harder to get more units out. Yeah. That way we can lay off that 1 day or 2 days, because if it gets too wet in here, the tractor can't go in and this becomes a big old muddy mess.
Right, yeah, no doubt. And we have to keep all those things in your mind to make sure it all goes well. Definitely. We want to get a little bit closer to see exactly what they're doing with these skilled laborers that are, gosh, they're doing a great job. And this crop looks amazing. We will definitely get a little bit closer to see what's going on. At the moment, though, I know there's some more math to do back in the studio, so we'll head back there now.
All right, thanks for that, Scott. And that crop does look fabulous out there. And do love cabbage. You guys like cabbage?
No,
No?
not really.
No, all right. All the more for me, even better. All right, in studio we have William, a 5th grade student from Berkshire Elementary. And William has been doing a lot of different math this year. You guys are kind of reviewing a little bit. Yeah. So we're going to help you with a little bit of the review on fractions. Sound good?
Sound good.
All right. Let's take a look at number 5 right here. We have 1/4 divided by 12. So William, if you want to write that up on the board, 1/4 divided by 12.
Oh, that's too big. Oh.
That's all right. You just use your eraser and there you go. 1/4 divided by 12. So kind of explain to Cindy how you would approach that problem, and if you need any assistance, Cindy's right there for you.
So I would approach this problem by turning this into a fraction and then getting the reciprocal to get 1/4 divided by one. Sorry, no.
Just turn your pen upside down. Yeah, there you go.
1/4 times 1/12.
Okay.
Because I would turn the division into multiplication.
So multiply by the reciprocal.
And then we multiply these together to get 1/48. Wait, yeah, 48.
Okay, nice. Yeah.
Easy as pie, right, on that one? All right, Hot, try to erase the board. I got another one for you. All right, 6 divided by 1/5.
Okay. So what are you gonna do on this one?
This is kind of where I kind of struggle. I think you turn this into a fraction and
Yep.
then get the reciprocal. So 6 times 1/5.
Okay, so let me stop you there. So no matter what, you do want to make them both fractions, but it's always you change the multiplication, the division, and then the next one to its reciprocal. So you never want to change the first one. So you do make it 6/1, but then you leave it like that, and then you do the reciprocal of the other fraction.
Oh, okay. So if this is 6/1, then it would be and then
Yep, so just like you did last time. Yeah.
and you would get 30/1, and we have to flip this back up, so it would also so then we would make it 1/30.
Okay, so let's go back to the 30/1. So if you see 30/1, do you have you worked with division in this kind of format?
Oh wait, I see what I did wrong now.
Okay,
It's 30.
there you go.
I mean,
Because it's just 30 divided by 1.
yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Caught yourself. Nicely
Yeah,
done.
good.
All right, let's do one last third one on this type, and then we're going to go to something a little different. So we have 2/3 divided by 3.
Okay, so I would approach this by doing this 3/1 and then getting the reciprocal, which is 1/3. And then just multiplying them straight across. 2 times 1, 2, 3 times 3, 9, 2 9ths.
Good.
All right, nicely done. So now we've got a little something where you're going to have to maybe put a little thought into this one instead of doing them straight across like you've been doing. So erase the board, and let's take a look at the problem together. A giant tortoise can walk about 1/10 of a meter per second on land. So I guess if you want to write 1/10 someplace, and so 1/10 of a meter, and that's a giant tortoise. Okay? A Cuda turtle can walk about 1/2 a meter per second.
So,
All right? Now, are you going to remember which one is which, or do you want to label them somehow?
yeah, I'll name this the big one and the.
And then that's the Cuda turtle. All right, there you go. So let's take a look at the first thing that they want you to do. So it says, how long would it take a giant tortoise to travel 5 meters? Okay, now it goes 1/10 of a meter per second. So how long is it going to take it to go 5 meters?
Okay, so it would take them 10 seconds to do 1 meter.
Okay.
Because it's 1/10. That means it would take them 50 seconds to do 5 meters.
Excellent. Now, here's what you need to do. Because in order for you to get credit, what the book wants you to do is show your work.
Okay, so
And since we're working on division, they probably want it like that, right?
okay, so 1/10 of a meter times 10.
So let's do it like this. So 1/10 of a meter, and you want to know they're going how far?
5 meters.
5
5
meters.
Oh, okay.
So do 5 meters, the total they're going to go,
So we do
divided by how much they go per second.
5.
Divided though.
Oh, divide. Okay.
Because it's like you're taking the full amount and dividing it into parts to see how long it's going to take. So then if you work that out so that you get your credit.
So then we get 5, 1, and then this will be
Good.
All right, so that's how they want you to do it. I mean, it's a problem that you can do it in your head. You did it using mental math, which is excellent. But when they say we want to see your work,
Right.
that's what they want to see right there. All right, let's take a look at the last problem, last part of this problem, part B. How much longer would it take a giant tortoise than the Cuda turtle to travel 10 meters on land? So how much longer is it going to take the tortoise than the turtle to go 10 meters?
So first, you got to know how much time it takes them to go the
to
10
make them
meters
both.
each, right?
So I'm just gonna erase this whole thing. So we need to figure out how much they can travel in 10 meters. So that's 1/10, or no. Oh,
That's okay. We know it was 1/5 and 1/2. We
yeah,
got it.
Okay, so so we would have 10 divided by
1/5.
1/10.
Was it?
Well, the tortoise is 1/10.
Oh, the tortoise is 1/10. Okay.
Right, the
I was
tortoise
thinking
is
1/5.
1/10.
And the other one's 1/2.
Right.
Okay.
So
No 1/5.
for them to travel, or for the tortoise to travel 10 meters, we have to divide. So
So you did multiply by the reciprocal. Okay, so the big tortoise goes 100.
100 seconds.
Okay.
Travel 10 meters. And then the baby, or the turtle,
What was
10
it? Something with a C,
divided
right?
by 1/2, which is 20
Okay.
20 seconds.
Okay, so now the question
So now,
was,
how much more does tortoise, or
how much longer does it take the tortoise?
100 minus 20, 80.
And
So
it's
80
80
seconds?
what?
Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
yeah, 80
I just gave him the
seconds.
answer.
Yeah, don't let him off the hook.
Well, I
that
didn't know you were
easy.
going to ask.
So, William, if somebody asked you, hey, how long does it take you to get over to this part of the school? And you go, it takes me 80 seconds. Is that the way you normally would kind of like would tell time, or would you break 80 seconds into something else?
I go 1/2 of a meter per second.
Well, I don't want you, what I want you to do is take the 80 seconds, and is it possible to break it into some other units of time?
80 seconds into maybe minutes.
Okay.
So maybe
yeah. So go ahead and keep going with that.
maybe 1 minute and 20 seconds.
There you go.
Good.
And how did you come up with 1 minute, 20 seconds? What did you have to know before you could do that?
Because 1 minute is 60 seconds, so we do 80 minus 60. So that's 1 minute, which is 20. So we have 1 minute and 20. Wait,
You've got it.
1 minute and 20 over 60, which is
1 minute, 20 seconds. All right.
which is the same as 1 and 2/6.
There you go. Have you ever seen a Cuda turtle?
No,
Nor have I. You ever seen a giant tortoise?
maybe.
Yeah, probably. I mean, you probably saw one of those before you have seen a Cuda turtle. But anyway, nice work right there on that, William. And for your great effort today, you've got yourself a meal courtesy of our friends at Grillin' Burger. So congratulations on that. Hope you have an opportunity to go see Lydia and everybody over at Grillin' Burger and enjoy a meal of your liking. And you know what? We've been checking on this harvest all along, and we have another opportunity. We'll go out and see Scott and see exactly how this harvest is going. Hey, Scott.
Seed to harvest. Seed to harvest. We're so much closer to the harvest right here. Got my friend Isaiah going to help us out a little bit about the supply chain facility operations that go on out here. Isaiah, what's going on? I mean, this is quite an operation. You got lots of people working for you. You got almost an assembly line going on here, and they're stacking them all up here. Give us a little overview of what's happening.
Yeah, so supply chain is an important step in the process. We work with the harvest crew and the harvest manager to figure out how many cases they're going to harvest in a day. We know that we're going to have 35 boxes per pallet.
Okay.
There's 5 boxes per layer with 7 layers.
How much these boxes weigh?
So these are 40-pound boxes.
Man, so that's a little bit of weight going on there.
Yeah. So when we transfer them to the facility, we put them in a cold storage. And the ideal temperature is about 35 degrees.
Okay.
And typically we ship them the same day or the next day. The goal is to get them to the grocery store as fast as possible.
Sure, no doubt. If you had to, we hope that doesn't happen, but if you had to, how long could you hold on to that product in the cold storage?
Well, we typically don't like to carry it for more than a few days.
Sure.
Yeah.
So that kind of impacts how much you're going to pick and at what time and where, knowing how many people are going to order, right?
Yes, there's a lot of coordination between farming operations and sales, depending on what the customers want, when they want it at a certain time of day or a certain time of week, so that the product moves through the grocery store as quickly as possible.
Absolutely. Tell us a little bit more about the actual process here. We see them picking the cabbages, tossing them up on the tray here, right? They get a little wash down, is that right?
Yeah, so they get sprayed real quickly. They get packed in a box. They include a tag that they can scan at the retail level, so they know how much each head of cabbage costs.
Right. And do they have the specific label about what specific type of cabbage it is? Obviously, the green cabbage, right?
Yeah, so this is a green cabbage. This is an organic green cabbage. So we put that on the box as well.
Wow, there's so many things for you to keep in mind. Now, what are some of the challenges that you, in your position, run into every once in a while? And how do you think about maybe long-term or even short-term, how do I overcome this challenge to make sure that our operations go as smoothly as possible?
One of the challenges we see is when we're scheduling trucks, there's a certain amount of weight you can put on a truck. Right. So we have to calculate how much weight is on each pallet so that we're within the restrictions.
Sure, totally, yeah. Weight's gotta be a really big deal. And the amount of product that you have out here hopefully has already been taken care of you, taken care for you, right? You kind of know what's coming up.
Absolutely. So it takes a team of people to plan this out, from sales to harvest to the logistics.
Yeah, no doubt. Now you also said you do a little bit about facilities, right? So when part of your job is managing this field, or do you have to do with more of the tractor side, or tell us a bit about that part?
Yeah, so once it's harvested, the cabbage will come up to the facility. It's important for us to have the cold room ready to receive. We don't want to break the cold chain process, so a lot of times we'll put it in the cold room, and as soon as the truck shows up, we'll load it straight onto a truck that is also cold, so that it can remain at the correct temperature.
Right, gotcha. And what specifically goes into making this field organic? We talked a little bit with Jeff about that in previous segments, but why is this product different than another head of cabbage? Is it going to be a little bit smaller, but definitely maybe more healthy?
You know what? We're pretty consistent when it comes to the sizing of our cabbage. The key feature here is that this is an organic field, and that's what makes it so special.
Yeah, and it takes a while to get certified for that as well, right?
Yes, there is. It takes a few years to convert a field over from conventional to organic.
So once you're organic, you're all organic. Here we go, right?
Yes, that's how we like it.
There you go. Anything else that we need to know? Because I'm super curious. It looks like they have some real specific equipment used to cut here, right? I mean, do they have is it called a cabbage knife? I don't know.
You know what? I'm not quite sure. It looks,
machete.
Yeah, I know my counterpart Nick would know that answer, but it looks like it's kind of a special cutting knife.
Right.
To get right to the root.
Once they're done here, they're going to come see you at cold storage, and then we're going to get it out to the supermarkets, right?
That's right. We're in the supply chain. We're the link that from harvest to the grocery store.
Right. So many interwoven parts that have to move together. It's like one big Lego set. All have to go together to make sure it works just like it's supposed to. We're still a little bit more we got to talk about, but I know there's also some more math to do back in the studio. We'll see you in a bit.
All right, thanks for that, Scott. Always a little bit more math, and we are getting ever so close to having these cabbages put in cold storage and then delivered out to the markets for everybody to enjoy. We do have phone tutors available until 5:30. We have William, a 5th grade student from Berkshire Elementary, in studio with us, and we're going to go into a brand new territory for you, William. You ready for this?
Yep.
All right, here we go. Percents and fractions. So this is something that you may have done a little bit of this in 5th grade. You probably will do a little bit more at the end of 5th grade. But when you go into 6th grade next year, you're going to start off the year doing this. So we'll give you a little head start on this right now. You ready?
Okay.
All right, here we go. At Mac's Furniture Store, a standard table has a price of $1,000. All right, so it's $1,000 for a standard table. All right, just a regular table. Mick wants to purchase the luxury version of the table, which costs 35% more. So 35% more, you can get the luxury version. And he has a coupon for a 15% discount on that other table. After applying 6% sales tax to the discounted price, how much will Mick pay for the luxury table? Ah, the register is always ringing. Indeed it does, keeping everything going and going in the economy. All right, so do you have any idea how you would like to start this problem, William?
Oh, well, so first we need to figure out what 35% more of the normal table will cost for the
Good.
luxury table.
Good. Now, what have you done with percents? Have you done anything yet?
No, not really.
Okay. Do you know what percent? Just think of the word percent. What do you think it means it's out of?
Out of 100.
Good. Nice. So this is like 35 hundredths. Do you know your place values?
Yeah.
So the hundredths place value is like you basically make this into a decimal.
Okay.
So that's 35 hundredths read as a decimal, right?
Okay.
If you know your place values. Okay. So in order for us to figure out how much more this luxury table costs, we have to figure out what 35% of a thousand is. Do you know, like, the word of in math often is an indicator of one type of math operation? Do you know what it happens to be? And that's fine if you don't.
No,
No?
I'm not really familiar.
Okay. So it basically tells you to multiply. So you're going to multiply these two things. You're going to do 1,000 multiplied by 0.35. And this will tell you how much more it cost. So are you familiar with decimal multiplication?
Not really.
Not really? Okay, so act like that decimal's not there and multiply it out, and then I'll tell you what to do with the decimal. Are you familiar with the multiplication like that?
No.
Not like that? Okay.
So pretend it's just 1,000 times 35.
Do you guys, that's what I'm wondering, if he's only
Oh,
done
if
like
you
the
do a
area
different way?
models or the other
Okay.
ways. Yeah. Do you do it different ways?
Yeah, I do it in some different way.
What way do you do it, just out of curiosity? Because it would probably work this way too. Like if the decimal wasn't there and it just said 1,000 times 35, what would you do? Well, what's 1 times 35?
35.
Okay, so write that down. We're going to do this kind of, you know, not having to use all the zeros. Now, if I said like 10 times 2, you'd get 20, right? If I said 100 times 2, you'd get 200. If I said 35 times
Oh, wait.
10, I'd get 350. So what do you think 35 times 1,000 would be? Okay. Now what you do with the decimal is you just count how many numbers there are after the decimal, and you start at the back here and you move it to the left that amount of times. So you want to end up with 2 decimal spaces. Yeah, exactly.
To 350.
So that means that this luxury table is $350 more than the standard table. So what is the cost of the luxury table?
1,350.
So what did you do to get that, in case somebody's wondering?
How did I get the?
The
Oh,
1,350.
I just added 350 onto the standard one.
Okay, nice. So now we know how much the luxury table's regular price is, right? Okay, so now we're going to be working with that regular price to figure out what his coupon will save him. We're still going to kind of do this same process. So on this one, we're going to have to actually work it out. So I'll show you how that works, okay?
Okay.
So go ahead and write down, well here, I'll write it right here just to get it in a spot that we can. So we're going to make this 15%, just like we did here. We're going to turn it into a decimal. Do you know what it'll be?
0.15.
Good, because you just go like that. And so we're going to multiply by 0.15. Okay, so when you have a multiplication like this, what you basically do is you start with just the ones digit and you multiply it to every part here. So you go 5 times 0, so what would that be?
That would be 0.
And then you do 5 times 5.
25.
Good. And then you do 5 times 3.
15 plus
Add
2.
the 2, good.
17.
And then you do 5 times 1.
It's just 5 plus
And you add
this
the 1.
6.
Good. Okay. Have you ever done the double digit? Do you know what to do? Okay, good. Now you just multiply the 1 to everything.
Okay.
So 1 times 0. And then 1 times 5. 1 times 3. And 1 times 1. Good. And then you add that all up. That's a 5 right there, so we add that.
Okay, it's a 5. Okay.
It kind of looks like a 6, but it's a 5. There you go. Okay, and then we're going to, instead of the comma, since we have a decimal up here, we're going to do like we did over here, and we're going to count, there's 2 here, 1, 2.
So 1, 2, which would be 202 point, wait.
Since it's money, you can go ahead and write the 50 cents. So $202.50. Now, is that how much the table is going to cost? What's that mean, discount? What's that mean?
15% less, or like it costs, it's like a discount's like a little bit less than the original amount.
Yeah, so it's like he's going to save that much, right? So how can we figure out how much he's going to pay then? So we know it's regular price here, and we know he's going to save this. So how can we figure out
We can
how much it's
subtract.
going to, okay, good. And then where would you put your decimal on there? Because you want to line your
Minus
decimals up.
200.
Okay, good. Right. So go ahead and subtract that.
Five.
And then get your decimal to come down into your answer.
And
Just
then-
straight down, yeah. So his new price with his discount is what, 1,100?
$147.50.
Okay, so that's his price. So circle that just so we know which one we're looking at for the next part. Okay, so now it says they're going to add a 6% sales tax onto the discounted price. So we're going to basically go through the same process to figure out how much tax he's going to have. So take the this, let's put it over here. It's 1147, is that a 4?
Yes.
Okay, 47.50. And we're going to multiply it by the decimal of 6%. What do you think 6% would be as a decimal?
0.06.
Nice, good.
That's excellent. I'm glad
Yeah.
that you asked him first instead of just putting it there. And I'm impressed that you knew that it was 0.06, because a lot of students would go 0.6,
yeah.
which would be 60%. All right,
That's
keep
why
going.
I asked him.
Yeah, you guys are
Okay,
on a roll.
so we're going to multiply that out. So just like we did over here with the multiplication, you're going to do 6 times 0. You're just going to act like the decimals aren't there for right now. Just
Okay.
multiply the numbers like a normal. So 6 times 0, 6 times 5, 6 times 7 plus 3. Six times 4 plus 4, and then 6 times 1 plus 2, and 6 times 1.
Wait, oh,
There you go. And then you're going to put a placeholder or a 0 on your next line before you start. Now it's all 0, so what's going to happen?
it's just gonna be all 0.
Yeah, so we don't really have to necessarily write that line, right?
No.
Okay, so this one has a little bit different decimal thing going on because it has extra decimals. You still count, you count everything you see. So you want to go 1, 2, 3, 4.
So you go 4?
So you go from the end, you go to the left 4 spaces.
Which is $68.85.
Okay, so that's his tax, right?
So then that means we subtract.
So what does tax do to your item? Does it make
Sorry.
it go down or up?
It adds.
There you go.
It adds to the total.
So you can erase something, just not what you need, erase something you don't need anymore so that you have room. Okay, so you're going to be adding the sales tax with the price that you circled there because that was your final discounted price.
Yeah, okay.
You just accidentally, yeah.
Okay, so there. We have to add those two together. So this is the price and then the tax.
So on adding and subtracting, you just bring it straight down. You only count it in multiplication.
Oh,
That's why you have to line them up when you add and subtract so that they're in a straight row and you just bring it straight down. There you go.
okay, so $1,216.35.
Would be the total cost that he has to pay.
There you go. Now, does that make sense? Let's look at the problem one more time. So a standard table was $1,000. The luxury version was 35% more. He had a discount, but then had to pay tax. So does it make sense that it's going to cost more than $1,000 for the luxury table?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does, right? And you went through the entire process. Everything was done beautifully, and that's a great problem right there. All right, nicely done. All right, we do have phone tutors available until 5:30, and there's math that is done outside of the classroom. Let's check a little bit out.
Have you ever looked at the moon and it looked close enough to touch? Or wondered why it doesn't stay the same night after night? Why does it change? I love to look up at the moon at night, especially when it's big and round and bright. But I just found out that the moon's light actually comes from the sun.
That's right. All solid surfaces reflect light back to us. The moon reflects light from the sun. The sun emits the light, the moon reflects it back.
So the moon doesn't make its own light. It reflects sunlight. But why does the moon change shape every night?
The moon doesn't change shape every night. What we see is the moon being lit with different amounts every night, so it appears to change shape, which we call the phases. When the moon is new, there's no sunlight reflecting off of it back towards us. That's why we can't see it. The sun is still shining on the moon, but it's shining on the other side of the moon, and therefore we can't see it. When the moon is full, the sunlight is reflecting off the full disk of the moon, and we see it as a full moon. In between those phases, the moon goes through waxing, which is increasing. It's an old word for increasing. Waning, which is an old word for decreasing. It refers to the amount of light on the moon. So as you see the moon go from full, then it gets a little less light, and so it's a waning moon. It goes through waning gibbous, waning half, and waning crescent. Then it's a new moon. We can't see it. There's no light reflecting off of it. And then it'll start to come back slowly, and it'll go through waxing crescent, waxing half, and waxing gibbous. Full moon always rises at sunset, so if you want to see a nice full moon, go out at sunset. After that, the moon rises 50 minutes later each day. So sometimes you'll see it at night, but sometimes you can see the moon during the day as well. The phases of the moon arise because the moon is rotating on its axis. Rotation is when a body rotates around its axis. Both the moon and the earth rotate around their axes. The moon revolves around the earth, and the earth revolves around the sun.
Whoa, that was some rotation. So the moon, earth, and sun work together in a system. The phase of the moon depends on how much of the sunlit side of the moon we see as it revolves around Earth. Just like the full moon rises at sunset, the new moon always rises near sunrise. But we can't see the new moon during the day because the side of the moon the sun is shining on is turned away from the earth at that time. And that pattern repeats over and over again. Here's something you can do at home. Go outside and look at the moon every day for a couple of months. Draw a picture of what you see, then try making your own calendar that shows the phases of the moon. Before long, you'll be able to predict what phase of the moon comes next. For Our World, I'm Michelle. See you next time. Oh look, a waning crescent.
Always interesting finding out new things about the moon. Waning, waxing, crescents, full moons, half moons, all of that different stuff. So always interesting. William has been doing some fantastic work, and we're going to wrap it up with multiplying some fractions today. You ready?
Yep.
Here we go. 6 times 2/3.
All right, so explain what you're going to do.
Okay, so 6 times 2/3. Maybe we can,
So you want to start it the same way you did your division and make them both fractions.
okay, so do 6 over 3?
No, what do you put under any whole number?
Oh, okay, then I go 1.
Yeah, there you go.
6 over 1. And you just multiply them across? I think. And you get, wait, no. Sorry, I added. That would-
You can write below it if you need to.
12/3.
Okay, so what happens when you have 12/3?
Well,
How do you simplify it?
it's an improper fraction, so we would have to divide this by, or we would have to figure out how many 3's fit into 12. And which is 4.
There you go.
4 fits in to 12 3 times. So then this would equal 4.
There you go. Nicely
Yeah,
done.
nicely
So, I mean, you could leave it as 12/3, right? Because that is an acceptable answer. But if they wanted it simplified, then you can simply simplify it to 4. Nicely done. Well, you know what? The time has come. We are finally at the end. We're finally at harvest. Let's head on back one more time and visit with Scott and wrap this up. Seed to harvest.
Look at this. Look at this. We are harvesting. I'm not harvesting cabbage. The experts are doing that. But I got my friend Prescott here with me, account manager. And Prescott, gosh, I mean, we are really at the end of the line here as far as getting this out so people can have some cabbage soup, right? Or whatever they're going to do with it.
Exactly,
I mean,
yeah.
this is exciting. So we're here in front of some red cabbage. We were just watching the green cabbage be harvested. Tell us a little bit about what you do in this process because, man, like I said, there's so many working, interwoven parts here.
Yeah, so you've heard a little bit about scheduling and planning from my coworkers, Nick and Isaiah. My biggest role here is to work with those teams to get an idea of what a daily forecast is going to look like. And then my job is to take those numbers, whether it's green cabbage, red cabbage, or both, and find customers for those. So we have our typical usual customers, and it's all about just splitting it up. One, keeping the customers happy by keeping product on the shelf, but also by following the plan that is laid out by the cabbage. At the end of the day, the cabbage decides when it's going to be ready. I don't decide that. So I work with these guys to make sure we can get it out when it needs to be out and get it on shelves.
The cabbage is the boss here.
Absolutely.
It tells you how much and when and all that fun stuff.
Exactly.
Now, of course, there's some planning going way back to planning time, right? To make sure that you're ready whenever you got to be going and you're going to go in rotation and all that stuff. But do you spend a lot of your time with your customers on the phone and letting them know this is when it'll be ready or taking orders or all that fun stuff?
Yeah, so from actually the very start, when we're actually planning acreage, I'm working with customers to get an idea of what their needs are going to be for these specific months. Okay. And then we're planning every day when it comes to cabbage. We're meeting with the harvest manager, we're meeting with the farm team to make sure that we have a good plan in place. Yeah. At the end of the day, we're not going to move it if we don't have a plan.
All right, we talked a little bit about challenges for Nick and Isaiah both. What are some of the challenges that come with your job? Because I know that it's not all smooth sailing, right? I mean, again, the cabbage is the boss, and it doesn't always work like you want it to.
Yeah, so, you know, our industry, the customer is always right. So if the customer wants something, my job is to make that happen. So my biggest difficulty or challenge is when we have cabbage that's sold but not actually ready to be harvested.
So it's all about moving things around a little bit here, a little bit there to make sure that one, like I said, we're moving the right amount, but also customers are still kept happy. Because at the end of the day, that's what keeps us in business.
Yeah, it seems to me like the numbers game has got to be super fun for you. You don't want to have too much left over, but you don't want to be short too much either, because then you have unhappy customers. So it really is kind of a numbers thing for you, right?
Yeah, it's a real delicate balance. Numbers play a huge part of what we do. I mean, we're literally going box by box, pallet by pallet, accounting for every single pound of cabbage we have.
Right. Oh my gosh. What kind of specific training did you get to do your job?
You know, fortunately I'm able to do some simple math equations.
There you go,
Not a whole lot of training. How to work with customers, how to work with the farm team, and make sure that we're all on the same page. It's all about communication, all about planning, and fortunately that's on-the-job training, so it's always been pretty easy.
There you go. So people, once you got a job here, people got a chance to show you kind of how it works and what you need to do. If a young person out there wanted to get involved in agriculture at any level, right? We've seen all kinds of things. You said communication is one of the main things. What could they do to prepare for that? What could they do to make sure that they are good communicators when they get to their job and be trained on the job, like you say?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing would be how to talk to different people. Everyone has a different goal, regardless of what their job is, and you have to know how to relate to that. A person that's trying to keep their shelves full in a grocery store talks a little bit different and uses different language and lingo than someone that's focusing on how many acres of seed they need to buy. So everyone communicates a little bit differently, and it's figuring out how to best communicate to who you're talking to.
So you're probably talking like 10 different languages every day, right?
Yes.
That's a lot of different people to talk to.
Yeah, the whole chain is it's massive, from, planting to growing to scheduling to harvesting, shipping, cooling, everything.
Right, there you go. And when you finally get through all of those steps, we have this unbelievable, beautiful cabbage, right? And each layer we peel back, kind of like each layer of the people that have gone through to make this happen, is almost perfect. Different, right? Each little layer is different, but they are each essential to make the final product.
Exactly. They come together and make a beautiful cabbage.
They come together, yeah. And at the very end of it all, not necessarily a raw cabbage guy, but doggone, that's pretty good, man, right out of the field.
There you go, nothing fresher.
Really appreciate your time.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure.
We have wrapped up the seed to harvest series, but happy to say that we have a final product to give at the end of this series. Man, it's been quite a ride. I've learned a ton. Hope you have as well. We even sprinkle a little math in there every once in a while. We're gonna wrap it up now, send it back to the studio. Stay tuned next time for another Math in the Real World. You never know where we'll go next time.
All right, thanks for that, Scott. And, you may not be much on that raw cabbage, but I'll tell you right now, you put me out there with all that cow, take care of that right there. William, a 5th grade student from Berkshire Elementary. Did you learn a little something today?
Yeah, I learned about percentages and a little bit more about dividing and multiplying fractions.
Good. So a little warm-up for percents and fractions that you're going to have coming up in 6th grade, maybe even at the end of 5th grade, but a little review on the fractions, dividing, and decimal, things like that, right? Mm-hmm. All right, nicely done. I've got one more question for you. Did you have fun doing this today?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun today.
Good. Well, I'm glad you were able to come in and visit us here on Do the Math. Also, thanks to Nick Hill from the Kern County Black Chamber of Commerce for coming in today. We do have phone tutors available until 5:30. Until we meet again, continue to do the math.
Major support for Do the Math has been provided by Chevron, the Kern County Superintendent of Schools, Edison International, Valley Strong Credit Union, California Resources Corporation, Bakersfield West Rotary Stroop Family Foundation, Panama Buena Vista Union School District, Bakersfield City School District, Kern High School District, and AC Electric Company, with additional production assistance provided by these supporters of education in Kern County and throughout the state of California.